I'm kind of trying to figure out how you fit in with this team and what's your goal when you walk in to Surprise and start working with Chris Woodward and this group that they have right now?
Yeah, man. I mean, honestly, I'm just super excited to be a part of this organization. I mean, I said it the first day I got here. I was just, I've always admired, what this club's about and what it's done. And, I know last year was a rough year, but, the group of guys in this clubhouse and the leadership with, JD and CY and where they're headed. I'm going to live in Fort Worth for the rest of my life, God willing. And, I'm going to be a Rangers fan long after I'm done playing. So it's just pretty cool to be a part of it in a small way here as we start here in spring training. And then, personally, the goal is obviously to prove to everybody here that, I got a lot of game left and I can help this club in some fashion and that my swing and, my abilities are there and to go out and prove it. And, whatever role that unfolds for me and whatever opportunity that gives me, if any, I'll be certainly welcome that with open arms.
Matt, what's the difference between getting ready for a season when you're 25-36 versus 35-36?
Oh, man. It starts with when you wake up in the morning. I mean, you got to, I remember the days of just like showing up to the ballpark, rolling right into activity. And, now at 36, you got to stretch before you stretch. It's just a different deal. But, thankfully I've done a good job my whole career taking care of myself. I mean, I take, pride in nutrition and all those things. I think for any person that, any guy, any ball player that plays up until the mid to late 30s or is lucky enough to play as long as, I've been blessed to play. I mean, you got to take care of yourself. I think that's the key. So, I've done a pretty good job of that and hopefully it'll continue.
Matt, my last year was 2008, and I think the game has changed a whole bunch from 2008 to 2022. You've been around for all of that time. Can you say, what do you think the biggest difference is, whether it's the coaching you get or the philosophies from when you somewhat made it to the big leagues 2011, 2012 to 2021, 2022?
Well, I mean, I think we all know, just as fans of baseball, just the style of the game has changed dramatically. Just philosophies in general. I mean, for better or for worse, I'm indifferent. I think I'm an old school baseball player by heart, but I'm certainly not afraid to adapt to change. And, just philosophies have changed. I mean, the philosophy from a, pitcher standpoint, 10 years ago was that we just cannot walk a guy. And, now it's like, hey, 3-2. If I throw my best pitch and I walk him, so what? I'll try to strike out the next guy. I mean, just little things that like that. And then, offensive standpoint, the game has changed a lot and they want people, to get their best swing off all the time. And you look to drive the baseball where when I first came up, 2-strike hitting and, using the whole field and slapping balls, trying to be a pest at the plate was kind of more the style. And so, I've had to adapt over the course of my career, so things change. And, I think that's what, a guy who can, hang around long enough, I think that's the best quality of these really good players. I look at all the Hall of Famers that I've watched play. I think that this quality is their ability to adapt over the years.
Matt, you play multiple positions in the infield. What's the one that you feel most comfortable at right now in your career, and was it different 5 or 7 or 8 years ago?
That's a great question. I don't know if there's one that I would say I'm like most comfortable with now, just because, at this point in my career, I kind of bounce around, fill a void for, a stretch or two, and that's kind of been my MO for the last couple seasons. So I've kind of developed a comfort in a pinch at all three, second, first, and third. I think coming up, I played more third base than anything. So probably there's probably a little bit more comfort there, but I've always said I think second of the three positions is the easiest one, especially in today's game. Most of the time you're standing out in short right field, just kind of like, in that shift. So, but I don't know if I would come out and say which one's the most comfortable, but third's probably the one I've had the most reps at.
Matt, can you pitch? I think here in Texas, it's
I
always
saw. I looked
yeah.
at he's a one inning guy a year.
Okay, all right. We're always wondering. We always are looking for pitching here in Texas. Can you step in if needed?
I mean, I do have a career 0 ERA in the big league.
Nice.
So I do have a scoreless inning under my belt, so I'm going to go ahead and say yes to that.
Obviously, we didn't see that, or we don't remember that, Matt, but we did see that on your baseball reference page. Did you try to throw the ball hard? Because there's always that when you have to go out there as a position player. Some guys go out there and try to show what they were able to do in high school or college, and then some guys are just up there kind of floating the ball and just trying to get the inning over with without getting hurt. What was your philosophy when you took the mound?
I think my range was somewhere like 46 to 86. Okay. So I had a little bit of everything for the guy. I mean, they had to stay back on the ethos and then try to sneak the 86 by him at times. But I mean, from my own experience facing position players, I think the harder you throw, that's better. The more advantage it is for the hitter. So like, I tried to throw it as slow as possible, and it seemed to work.
I am kind of curious, Matt. When Adrian Beltre did show up, and I did see the video of him walking out there for an at bat, and then walking right past home plate and everything. And like, what was some of the advice? What was he discussing with you guys? What was going on with him kind of being around?
I mean, you talk about just the ultimate pros. Adrian and Michael. I've had. Michael, I'm just getting to know a little bit more recently, but Adrian, I've been blessed and lucky enough to know him for a few years now. We connected over a Nike kind of baseball trip. I want to say like 2014 was the first year that I got to meet him, and man, I mean, he's a guy that you just spend 2 seconds with, and you're immediately going to learn something. You're immediately going to know like this is just one of the better human beings first and foremost, but just his baseball knowledge and what he's able to communicate to both, which makes it really special to both American and Latin players. Being able to just, have those conversations. I mean, I tell him all the time, I wish he was around more. I know he's got his family, and that's his priority, but he's a special person to be around. And man, I just can't tell you how much I've learned from him. I give you a million stories, but the thing that I quiz him on the most is I talked to Adrian. I was like, man, I don't know what it is about like you, but I swear, one, not only towards the end of your career did I feel like you were even better than you ever were at the late 30s to mid 30s, but he still looks like he could play now. I mean, it's like the guy gets younger by the years. So I was looking and asking him for any tips. I don't know if he's using some kind of special lotion or some kind of face cream or what, but I'm trying to figure it out.